Alright guys, so today we're going to be doing a workout video basically on how to design or what is basically a optimal workout if your goal is to grow as much muscle as you can. So most people in the gym, say about 90%, have no idea why they're doing the workout they're doing. They just sort of do it because a friend told them or they saw it on the internet, and it doesn't really have much direction or purpose. So by asking a few questions and then answering them, you can basically design a really good workout program that is optimal. So the first thing you want to look at is volume. So how much volume is needed for optimal growth? Question 1. Question 2. What rep range do you need for optimal growth? What intensity? What's a training frequency for optimal growth? What rests between sets? And also something called progressive tension overload, which we're going to talk about. So the first thing is volume. So how much volume do you need for optimal growth? Well, the literature suggests that 40 to 60 reps per muscle group per workout is optimal. So what that means is if you're doing, say, chest, doing a chest workout, and you're doing bench press, and you do 10 reps for 6 sets, that's 60 reps. But you also have to consider that that also does shoulders, triceps, etc. So you've got a lot of overlapping. So basically anything over 60 reps is pointless, and then anything under 40 reps, again, you're not getting the optimal range. So people that do really long, huge workouts and do, they end up doing like 100 plus reps per muscle group, per say just one chest, and then they do all these chest exercises and they go and they do another 3 or 6 sets again of triceps. They end up doing like 150 reps on triceps when really it only needs 40. So that's one thing that you need to consider. The next thing is rep range. So what is the optimal rep range? Okay, so you've got the low end, so 1 to 3 reps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reps. That is known to be optimal for strength because of those strength adaptations. I'm not going to go into detail what they do. It'll be a really long video. And then you've got, say, 10, 15, somewhere there, and that seems to be the best for hypertrophy, so muscle growth. But there's 2 types of muscle growth and 2 types of things that we want to do. We want to recruit as much muscle fibers as possible, and we also want to fatigue the muscle as much as possible. And we want the maximal hypertrophy. So that is 5 to 8 reps. So that seems to be the perfect balance of the 2. We get best of both worlds. So say you want to do a really high rep range at 15 reps at 70% of your 1 rep max. So that's going to optimally fatigue your muscle, but it's not optimal for recruiting all your muscle fibers because the intensity isn't there, or the weight intensity isn't there. And then when you go the lower rep range, say 1 to 2 reps at 95% of your 1 rep max, that will recruit all your muscle fibers, but the reps or the duration of the set isn't long enough to fatigue all your muscles, all your muscle fibers. So again, 5 to 8 reps is perfect for both, and there's lots of research to support that as well. Next thing, intensity. So if you do a 1 rep max calculator, which I've put in the description, the link, so use the calculator and work out what your 1 rep max is. So basically 60 to 85% of your 1 rep max is intense enough to stimulate optimal muscle growth. And you don't have to go to failure at the end of each set. 1 to 2 reps before is also perfectly fine. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with going to failure, but it's not necessary. So it's kind of something that if you like going to failure, go for it. Probably end up making you fatigue a lot quicker throughout the workout. So if that's a problem, probably try not going to failure at the end of each set. So frequency is probably the biggest one that people mess up and have no idea what they're doing. Most people in the gym, I say honestly more than 90% do the whole bro split. They do 1 muscle per week, So Monday chest, Tuesday back, Wednesday legs, Thursday shoulders, Friday arms. That's it. That's all they do. All right, and the load and the volume is quite high, usually too high, and not really any beneficial at all up until a certain point. But they're only doing each muscle 1 day a week. Now, what's the problem with that? Well, when we look at the research, it shows that when you do a weight training or resistance training, you have elevated protein synthesis for only 24 to 48 hours. And 48 hours being pretty much almost no one even reaches 48 hours, and it's talking about the elite sort of genetic freaks there that get 48 hours, but mostly it's like 24 to like 36 hours for the general people. So for most people, your period of time which you can even grow new muscle tissue is only a day and a half after your workout. So if you're working out, say Monday for chest, you have the rest of the day Monday, the whole day Tuesday, and maybe a tiny bit of Wednesday where you're growing, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're not doing anything. You've basically missed out on that time. And it also doesn't make sense why you're doing so much volume on the Monday, where you're doing 100 reps per workout for chest on Monday, when you can break it up into two and do 50-50, and you can potentially double the time that you have to grow new muscle tissue. So what does that work out to? Well, the absolute most optimal thing would be to do 3 full body workouts. Practically that becomes really difficult for most people, and it's really hard to get through, and your workouts would be around 2 hours long if you try and get enough volume, which would be optimal. So usually the best thing that people will do is sort of the middle ground, which is an upper lower split. So say Monday you do upper, your whole upper body, and then Tuesday you do legs, you have a break, and then again upper lower. That would be recommended to be the most practically optimal, even though physiologically doing 3 days a week full body splits would be better. Okay, so how long should you rest in between sets? This one's pretty much not really important to some degree. It doesn't make much of a difference, and you don't really have to worry about it. You could say 1 to 5 minutes. So for the endurance stuff, if you're doing a high rep range, you can do 1 minute, and then like if you've got a really if you're doing your 1 rep max or something like that, you can go up to 5 minutes. But anywhere between 1 and 5 minutes, I would say. And then the next thing that is probably the most important out of all of them is something called progressive tension overload. Basically, this means that you need to progressively increase the tension in order to grow new muscle tissue and progress. So if you're basically doing the same way every workout for 6 months, theoretically you're probably not going to grow at all. So what is tension? Well, tension doesn't have to be just the weight. So if you're doing 100 kilo on a bench press for 6 reps, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do 105 kilos the next week. You could do the same weight and then increase the reps. So you could do 7 reps instead of 6. You could increase the weight, obviously. You can even decrease the amount of rest in between sets, and you can also increase the sets. So all that is increasing the tension. So if you can only do 3 sets of 100 kilo bench press, and then the next week you do 4 sets, well, that's technically increasing tension. So over time, that is the most important thing, that you continuously increase the tension in order to gain optimal muscle growth. So practically, what does this mean? Well, if you use this information, put it into a workout, you're basically going to be doing an upper-lower split. It's a 4-day-a-week workout. On the upper, you do, say, using the 5 to 8 rep range, you would do about 6 sets of chest that are compound movements, to about 6 sets of a back movement, something like a row, and then you would do probably 2 sets on shoulders, 2 sets on biceps, 2 sets on triceps. And that's pretty much your entire upper workout. Legs, again, same thing, compound movements, about 6 sets of squats or 6 sets of deadlifts, or 3 and 3. And then you could do some like 2 sets of leg extension, 2 sets of leg curl, 2 sets of calves. Something like that would be pretty much all you need. You could just repeat that. So as an example, I have put some workouts that I've written up in the past in the description. You can check those out. So hopefully hopefully anyone watching this, use the principles that I've just said. That's what the research shows is optimal. And most importantly, I want to emphasize, do not do bro splits. Do not do 1 day a week, chest Monday, back Wednesday.